People ask me all the time, Carrie, what is the best community software out there today? And this question is a huge question. People don't realize what a large question it really is. And it's not possible for me to answer this with one tiny conversation or with one answer. However, what I can help you get clarity on is the questions you need to be asking so that you can pick the best possible software for your needs. So let me talk to you a little bit about a current client that I'm working with and how this has played out with them. And hopefully you can see yourself in them a little bit. So this client came to me looking for a way to connect members of their organization. These members are connected from all over the world. They typically meet at conferences, and their entire mission and their entire purpose is to bring people together to increase understanding between different cultures. Now, when the program director came to me and said, Carrie, we need community software, what should we pick? I had to ask her a lot of questions. I had to first ask, well, what is it that you need it to do? Does it need to be some front-end software or back-end software? So this question, what I'm asking and trying to assess here is, do you need something that is community member facing, like your members can find one another or see each other's posts or chat with one another? Or do you just need something that is back-end facing, so internal facing? Maybe it's a system to better keep a record of your members, to understand who they are, to implement new communication and operational workflows behind the scenes in your community. And when I asked this client whether it was front end or back end, they said both. And this is really, really common. However, they often think that the front end and the back end have to come in one platform, and oftentimes they don't. They can come in totally different platforms as long as they integrate together in a way that makes sense for your organization's operations. So that makes things a little bit complicated. But if you know the answer to that, if it's one or the other or both, you can at least get a little bit more clarity, okay? So then at that point, you can decide, do you want to go with specialty solutions or do you want to go with something that does everything? The next question to ask is, what are we actually planning to do with our members on this platform? So sometimes that looks like mapping out a huge workflow, like especially for back-end operations, you can say, what would be the ideal workflow for someone to go through from the back end, from discovery to joining our community? That's something you can write out and even potentially create a complete automated workflow for. On the other side, the external side, you're going to need to be able to answer questions like, what features do people want to have enabled for them? What kinds of activities would they like to do together? And oftentimes this is something that people make assumptions about. And so this is why I can never answer this question in one conversation for anyone, because what we need to do in order to really answer this question to the best of our ability without spending a ton of money and wasting a ton of time is to talk to our members. And I never ask members what it is that they want to see from a community, because that is, people will say all kinds of things. Instead, what I try to understand when talking to members is, what kinds of urgent needs are you facing right now? And specifically, what kinds of urgent needs you're facing that only meeting other people can solve for you? So there can be many, many needs people have, but they can be solved through taking a course or buying a product. If the need that they have can only be solved by being in community with others, then we're cooking with fire. Okay, so that's what we need to know. We need to then understand, okay, what features would then be necessary for these members to meet those needs. So at that point, you might decide we need chat functionality, we need video chat or just audio chat functionality. We need distributed events, meaning that members can run their own events without us having to be the logistical middle of everything. So then we can answer those questions. And once those questions are answered, at that point, I can basically give you between 5 and 10 platforms that do all of those things. Sometimes they do all of them. Oftentimes they specialize in one of those areas. But when we get really, really specific there, then I can tell you the best software out there. The other thing to consider is, do you want a platform that your organization owns the data for? So usually a software platform that you are paying a license fee for, something like Mighty Networks, or even something like ForumBee or HiveBright, anything like that. where you're licensing a platform and you can get the data from the back end, a lot of it, not all of it? Or do you want an unowned solution, meaning typically like a social network, like a Facebook group, or something like a Slack channel or Slack team, where you are not going to be able to own the platform or lease the platform software necessarily. Lease, I don't know if that's the right word. I guess license, yes. But it's going to be free. It's going to be low cost. I often recommend that only when people are trying to validate whether a community idea is viable or not. Go with a free solution for that. I also will recommend it if your primary issue is with discovery and you need people to discover that you even exist, because existing within a larger platform like a Facebook group is going to give you unique advantages because people are already there. Now, there are a lot of people that aren't there as well. So we need to understand really where we're at in terms of our organization and our investment. Beyond that, we can start to get more and more specific, but there are over 80 different community software platforms on the market today. Some of those do 50 things. Some of them do just one thing really, really well. Some are operating systems. Other ones are forums. They're all over the board. And I swear every month I get a whole handful of new platforms that I'm discovering that have been launched just in the last couple of weeks. There have been 4 or 5 that I've seen come through. So I can never answer the question which one is best, because it's really going to depend on your answers to all of the questions that I shared with you here. What I would like to know is if there are specific software packages or different kinds of software types that you would like to know more about. I love to geek out on this stuff. So drop a question for me in the comments below, or let me know what kind of software you'd like to learn more about, and I'll make sure to I'll make sure to address it in a future video. I got this. All right. Take care, everybody, and thanks.